Right. So today, we're really diving deep into the world of NFTs.
NFTs, yeah.
We're going way beyond just like what they are, because
Yeah.
everybody kind of gets that by now, right?
Right.
We've got some really interesting articles here from Stambol Studios and OIX.
Okay.
And OIX, they're a social NFT marketplace, so they're really in the thick of it.
Yeah, they are.
And this is going to be interesting because this goes way beyond just digital art.
It really does.
We're talking like how we experience value, ownership.
Absolutely.
Even like art itself could be changed by this.
And that's what's so fascinating about this whole thing with NFTs, right? Is that it really does challenge our traditional ideas about what's real, what has value.
Okay.
And it's not just about like, owning a JPEG or something. It gets into something much deeper.
Exactly. And that's what I always kind of get stuck on because like I love the idea in theory, but I'm like, anybody can copy this.
Yeah.
What makes this one file special?
Right. And that's always been the big question, right?
Right.
Like I get buying a physical painting. I understand that.
Yes, exactly.
But what makes this digital file, which can be, as you said, copied endlessly, what makes it valuable?
Yeah.
And that's where the technology comes in.
Okay.
So it's not just about owning the file.
Right.
It's about owning the original.
Right.
And that original is verified on a blockchain. So think of it kind of like a digital certificate of authenticity.
Oh. Okay.
It's impossible to forge. It's right there on the blockchain for everyone to see.
So I might have like a copy of a copy of a copy.
Exactly.
But yours is the one that like...
Exactly. You can always trace it back.
That's the OG.
You got it. You got it.
Okay.
It's a good way to put it.
So it's the provenance that you're really owning.
Ownership of the provenance, And that's a powerful thing, especially for collectors.
Okay.
I mean, people understand that in the physical world, right?
Right.
But to have that in the digital world, it opens up a whole new realm of possibilities.
I can see that, especially like for digital artists.
Absolutely. And this is something Stambol talks about.
Yeah.
Is how this could revolutionize artist royalties.
Oh, interesting.
So like imagine a world where every time your NFT is resold, you get a cut.
What?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Built right into the technology.
No more like, starving artist makes a thing, it sells for $1 million and they don't see a cent.
And they see nothing.
Wow.
It's like this built-in system of, kind of a reward system, if you will.
That's amazing.
For creators.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
Now, Stambol also hinted that it's not just about art.
No, absolutely not.
They were kind of like, and then there's everything else.
Right. And this is where things get really, really interesting, right? Because we're talking about applying this to everything from virtual event tickets to in-game items. I mean, you name it, anything digitally unique can be represented as an NFT.
Okay.
And OIX even sees the potential for revolutionizing charitable giving through this, which I think is fascinating.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that part of the article.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It's not just about like, making money off this, which, everybody's trying to figure out, but this is like, could actually be used for good.
Exactly, for good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not just about the monetary value. It's about the potential impact.
Right.
And I think that's something that sometimes gets lost in the conversation. Right.
It's
like, oh, NFTs, how much money can I make? But there's so much more to it than that.
And then there's so many different blockchains.
Exactly. And that's a whole other kettle of fish, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got...
the can of worms.
It's a can of worms, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you've got different blockchains with different quirks and different strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, so that's what we're going to dive into next time.
Let's do it.
Is all the different blockchains and how they play into this whole world.
I'm ready when you are.
So we were talking about baking charitable donations like right into the NFT.
Yeah.
Which just seems like such a cool concept.
Yeah. It is.
How does that actually work?
So imagine you're an artist.
Yeah. Okay.
And you create an NFT.
Yeah.
You could actually code it so that every time that NFT is resold, a percentage automatically goes to a charity or a cause that you support.
Oh.
It's built right into the code, right there on the blockchain.
So it's not like you're just hoping that the person who buys it is going to donate or whatever.
It's all automated. It's all transparent, right?
It's all right there.
It's all right there on the blockchain.
And you can like track it and everything.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So OIX also talks a lot about community. Which is not something you think of when you think NFTs, at least not at first.
No.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where this deep dive is so important because it's easy to get caught up in the hype cycle.
Right.
The buying and selling, the speculation.
Like it's just another thing you can flip and make money off of.
Exactly. But platforms like OIX are trying to build something more. They're trying to build communities around shared interests, using NFTs as a sort of...
So it's like the early days of like the internet where everyone was like, oh, let's make a message board about Star Trek or whatever. But like...
And this is taking that to the next level because now you've got actual ownership built in.
Right.
So you're not just talking about it, you're invested literally in this community.
That's really cool. So it's almost like a new type of social network is being born, but it's like creators, collectors,
exploring the lines,
fans, everybody's kind of in it together.
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating was how this ties back to the idea of value, right?
Okay.
Because we often think of value in purely economic terms.
Right. Dollar signs.
Dollars and cents, exactly. But what about the value of belonging?
Oh, that's it.
The value of contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Right.
That's what these communities are tapping into.
And both of these articles talked about empowering creators.
Absolutely.
Which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, and it's not just financially, right? It's about giving them more control over their work.
Right.
A direct line to their audience.
Like cutting out...
Exactly, cutting out the middleman.
All the people in between.
The publishers, the record labels, the galleries, all of that.
Yeah.
NFTs have the potential to disrupt that entire system.
That's huge, but it also seems like it's the Wild West out there.
It is. It is.
Because, like, everybody's trying to figure this out at the same time.
And that's both exciting and a little scary.
Are there downsides?
Well, I mean, it's not all, sunshine and rainbows, right?
Right.
There are valid concerns, for example, about the environmental impact.
Okay.
Some blockchains are very energy intensive.
Right. Because it takes a lot of computing power
to
do all that.
And that's something to take seriously. There's also the issue of accessibility.
Okay.
Not everyone has access to the same technology.
And if we're going to talk about democratizing this stuff.
Exactly. We need to make sure everyone has a fair shot.
Okay.
And that's something OIX is really focused on, is building a platform that's accessible, that's welcoming to everyone. Not just the tech-savvy early adopters.
Because Stambol also talks about democratizing access to art itself.
Yes.
They had this whole thing about virtual galleries, which blew my mind.
Yeah, imagine being able to walk through the Louvre from your living room.
Yeah.
Experiencing those masterpieces in a way that was previously impossible.
Right, because, I mean...
That's what they're talking about.
Not everybody can get to Paris, but you can experience it through...
That's the power of this technology.
Yeah.
It can bridge those gaps between the physical and digital in ways we've never seen before.
It's a lot to kind of wrap your head around.
It is a lot to process.
Because on the one hand, it could be amazing.
That's hugely disruptive.
But on the other hand, we don't know which way it's going to go.
And that's what makes it so fascinating to follow.
Right.
Because we're witnessing the birth of something new.
Right.
And it's anyone's guess where it will lead us.
Okay, so if our listeners are like, all right, my brain is full.
Sure.
What's the one thing you want them to remember?
That's a great question.
So much to unpack there. Where do we even begin?
For me, it always comes back to that shift in thinking. Like, don't get too caught up in the jargon.
Yeah.
All the headlines about somebody paying $1 million for a digital ape.
Right.
The real revolution here is about, challenging our assumptions about value and ownership and how we create things in the digital age,
So it's like we're seeing the tip of the iceberg. It's like, remember the early internet?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, we had no idea.
We were just scratching the surface.
That's what it feels like.
And I think that's what's so exciting about this.
Okay.
Is that we're still figuring it out.
Right. Like, it's the Wild West.
The Wild West, yeah. It's like...
but in a good way.
In a good way, yeah. It's like the Renaissance, but for the digital age,
And everyone can be a part of it.
Exactly. That's what I love about it.
It's not just like, you got to be some bigwig to get in on this.
It's open to anyone.
Yeah.
Artists, collectors, even just everyday people can shape this technology.
So what's the thing you should be asking yourself?
That's the big question, right? It's not just about, should I buy this NFT?
Right.
It's more about, what can I do with this? How can I be a part of this? How can I use this to create something meaningful or connect with others or even make a difference?
Because you could.
Like actually,
it's not just about the money.
Right. Okay.
It's about the potential.
So much bigger than just like, am I going to make money off this ape?
Yeah, and I think those questions, the ones you were just asking, those are the ones that'll lead to the really big breakthroughs, you know?
That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. Thanks for
oh, it's been my pleasure.
For taking us on this deep dive with NFTs.
It's been great talking about this stuff.
And I feel like if our listeners are anything like me, their minds are blown right now.
Cool, in a good way.
But, you know, as you explore this crazy world, keep that image of those virtual galleries in mind, right?
Yeah.
Because that just blew my mind.
It's amazing to think about.
Art for everyone.
Exactly.
No matter where you are, how much money you have.
Exactly.
That's a future I want to live in.
Me too.
So could NFTs be the key to making that happen?
That's the big question.
I don't know, but it's pretty cool to think about.
It is.
So until next time, keep on diving.